8:42, we are back. Live shot there from Century Plaza Hotel and Spa. We've been hearing from you all morning long of what the poppy means to you, and now's our chance to get a real personal touch of what is happening tomorrow. Chief Warrant Officer from the BC Regiment, Haf Malik, joining us. Welcome to you. Cam Cathcart, Director of Ceremonies. Terrific to have you both on. And as we ask this question, what does the poppy mean to you? Haf, if you could explain your personal experience, how you served, and what this poppy and what this day tomorrow, what does that represent for you?
Well, that's a great question, Riaz. I'll relate a story. Back in 1993, I was serving with the 2nd Battalion, Princess Patricia's Canadian Light Infantry in the former Yugoslavia. And there was an ongoing operation at that time. And my company was held in reserve, and we were about ready to basically hold up the entire line while the other companies took part in the operation. So I was a subunit commander, a section commander at that time, and I was just, you know, as soldiers do, we're just kind of doing a brief as to, you know, what do you think is going to, you know, be the worst case scenario? What are some contingency plans? So as I was questioning my section, one soldier said, well, I think the worst thing that could happen is that we don't make it out of there. Another soldier had mentioned that I think, you know, getting maimed would be the worst case scenario. And one of the youngest soldiers said something that has stayed with me ever since that time. He looked at me and he said, I think the worst thing that could happen is for us to be forgotten, and for everything that we've done, that our people, right, that Canadians forget about what we've done. And that has stayed with me till that time, right?
Well, this is the importance. It's an excellent sentiment. And Cam, this is why we do this ceremony tomorrow. Tell us about, for those that have yet to experience it, what this is.
Yeah, well, that Huff has made it very clear. That's the significance, really. And you know, what's happening, I've always felt, in the last several years, there's kind of a tsunami of interest suddenly emerges at the beginning of the week, just as you lead up to the 11th. And people start to think about what Huff has just said. We can't forget these folks. Why? Because they've sacrificed their lives. A lot of them came back, a lot of them stayed behind. But they were doing it for the country. They were doing it for the country. And regardless of your perspective on why and why would they do that and all the rest, forget about that for just a moment. It's what they did themselves. And many of them were anxious to help. Others were perhaps not as anxious. But the fact is that they did it. And I think that's a mark of Canadian value. We have a tremendous pride in our country. We don't overdo it, but we are resilient people. And we have to stay vigilant. And our forefathers and our people before us who were in the various wars, they were vigilant too, and they served. Now, tomorrow we're going to have an interesting added aspect to it. HMCS Vancouver, which is the ship of and is visiting its namesake city today as we speak. It's tied up at Canada Place, and the whole crew of that ship will be marching tomorrow morning. And we're very proud of that, because it's nice to have them back at their namesake city. The other thing I want to quickly say is that cadets are a very important part of our community, and a very large band of Air Force cadets. They're 111 Pegasus Air Force cadets. They are terrific, and they're going to be in the parade for the first time. And we're hoping that in the future years that they'll be back. There's about 40 of these young cadet musicians, and they're terrific.
Well, it's a great chance to see it transcend generations.
It is, yes.
Victory Square tomorrow, 10 a.m. Vancouver.ca is the website for all of the details. Have final words to you, because you said something that struck me inside the green room. The BC Regiment, for people that say millennials are disconnected with what is happening with Remembrance Day, in a few seconds, if you could summarize how the younger generation is sacrificing. In the BC Regiment, how many millennials do you see that you work with and you lead now?
Well, I think one of the things they can do is they can come by the regiment. We parade on Wednesday nights. Let's open up a dialogue. Let's start talking to each other. You know, meet with members of the Canadian Forces. They'd be more than happy to demystify the service to their country. And I think a lot of it starts with communication.
Well, we get to communicate to many messages tomorrow. Thank you to you both for coming on. It's an important ceremony, not only in Vancouver, but in your respective city. Check out the social media accounts in your city's websites for all of the details. Gentlemen, appreciate the time. We'll take a break.